Alright guys, today we're going to talk about the Piccolo deck, the Revival Piccolo deck, coming out in set 27. I think this might be my favorite leader that comes out of the new set, excluding Mechigabora and Pan, because Pan's obviously going to come out in the set, but Pan's going to be coming out at the same time. I really like this leader. I think this leader will be, it's almost like a Fusion World deck, in a sense. Like, it's really close to being a Fusion World deck. Activate on the front side, you take a life, you draw a card, you play a Namekian that costs 4 with Revive skill, Waken at 5. On the back side, you do the same thing, but now you can play 5 costs. And if you notice, neither one of these activate mains are once per turn, so you can continue to play these cards, continue to flood the board, continue to draw cards. On the back side, though, all of your Namekians with the Revive skill are cost of 1, which is important because all the Revive skills are going to be green-blue cards, which means they're going to be 10Ks. So you have a bunch of 10Ks. That's why I said it's kind of a Fusion World deck. So now I did spend a lot of time making this deck, so I felt like the deck building portion was going to be way too long, and I wanted to keep the videos kind of around like 15 minutes if possible, just for viewer, expectations. Having a 34-minute video, unless it was like an in-depth breakdown, I didn't want to do that to you guys. So this is it's 57 cards. We'll double check afterwards, but I spent a lot of time making this deck. I think there's not a ton you have to do, really. It's a lot of archetype based cards, but there are some cool tech intricate cards you can add into the deck, which I'm also going to show off some side deck stuff. There's 5 cards I picked from the side deck that I think you could also include in your main deck. So start with the 1-drops here. These are technically your 1-drops that you play on turn 1. You have Dende, Kami, and Guru. Dende searches top 3 for a Purunga, Namekian, or an extra card that are green, and then place the rest of them at the bottom of the deck in any order. Kami, activate battle, places himself under a card with Revive. That card gets 10k for the turn. Guru plays a Namekian from underneath him that costs 5 or less with the Revive skill. So these are all the 4 costs. You can play these on the Unawakened side. Your best turn 1 play is going to be Dende. But these other 2 are not bad. Like, this is a 15k. This is a 10k. You also can, like, if you have Kami and Guru on the board, you can swing with Kami, swing with Guru, activate battle on Kami, put Kami underneath Guru, swing for 25, and then activate main on Guru to then play Kami back out. Right, so you can do that's kind of what this deck is. It's just a lot of recycling a lot of these cards and just replaying them. If you guys don't know, with Revive, when this card is KO'd, that means you can pitch a blue and a green, or a blue-green. Just have to fill the color requirements to then replay that card in active mode. All right. We have 4 of one of the 5-drops, which is probably one of the best 5-drops in the deck. Is Piccolo Jr. Leader is blue or green. You can play it for 1 in the battle step and draw a card. It's a blocker with Revive. You also can activate battle, a blue and a green, to give it 10k in triple strike. So you also can do, obviously, with the Piccolo Jr., you can swing with Piccolo, tap 2, give it 10k in triple strike, use Kami, tuck Kami underneath it, give it another 10k, right? And Kami's in active mode or in rest mode, so you can do that. So you don't have to be in active mode to do that. 4 of the, I guess this is the other one too, but this is I think it's pronounced Murray. I don't remember. I don't remember this far back in Dragon Ball Z to actually remember what his name is. But he is a energy exhaust negated card, as well as Guru. So these are kind of like your check lands, if your leader is this particular leader. This card, when also it's played, it plays out the battle on Namek extra card, which we'll talk about here in a second once we get to it. We have Nail, Slug, and King Piccolo rounding out kind of our more offensive battle cards we're going to play. So Nail is a 20k. He also has the negating skill effect as well. Active main, you choose a Namekian card with Revive skill, place this card underneath it, draw 1, and then you bounce a card back to your opponent's hand from their board, right? This is really cool as well. 20k battle card swing. It's also going to draw you a card and have removal on it as well for no extra cost. Is very powerful. Slug is kind of a similar card here. 20k crit. You get to KO a Namekian with Revive and then bottom deck one of your opponent's cards. You also can bottom deck himself. I mean, you can KO himself. And again, when a Revive card is KO'd, you can pay the cost to then bring that card back. You just can't do the activate main effect again. But having a 20k crit dual attacker technically is really, really strong. And then we have King Piccolo. He has dual attack limit 1, meaning you can only attack with him twice one time. And that's for any copies of this card. So you can't have 2 copies on here and activate limit 1 once or twice on both cards. You can only activate it once per turn. But he also gets to play out a Namekian from underneath him. So all these cards here kind of replay each other, right? So King Piccolo and Guru can replay any of these other cards from underneath them, right? Now, there's different ways we're going to be able to put them underneath them. Obviously, with cards like Nail, Kami, those 2 cards have the ability of putting themselves underneath a card to replay them. And then Slug also kind of does that as well by being able to KO a Namekian with Revive. So you can also replay that card as well, right? We have another non-archetype card, but a card that came out in the same set, which is going to be the Super Saiyan 2 Son Gohan. Comes in rest mode, KOs a 7 cost. What's nice about this is that when your battle card is removed from a battle area, by skill or by KO, whatever it is, this card restands. So what's kind of cool is you can, if you have a Gohan on board, you use like Slug and pop one of your Namekians to bring it back in active mode. This card will then restand itself. So then this will become a double striker. So you can have like Slug on board, you swing it to 20k, you play Gohan, you kill something, you pop Slug, use his effect, bring him back in active mode. Gohan then will restand. Right? Really, really powerful. I think this is a very strong aggressive deck that also just has tons of 10k combos because you gotta remember the leader negates all those skills. So this is definitely a deck you're gonna have to watch out for. It's doing a lot. We have kind of an older card. I say older card now, but the King Piccolo promo negate. It is a Namekian. Not with revives, you can't play it from underneath any of these guys, but it is a Namekian, so you can search it off Dende. For non-Saiyan cards, if your leader's a non-Saiyan, for non-Saiyan cards, it gets reduced by 1 to 20k, that negates the attack, pops something 5k or 5 cost or less, and it also removes a marker, and it's a unique crit. Not a bad card to have, just for extra defense. We have 2 planning on Namek, or Battle on Namek. This is your field spell you play in this deck. If one of your Namekians is removed with Revive skill is removed by a skill other than KO, you can KO it instead. So this includes warping, bottom decking, bouncing back to hand, having its power reduced to 0. You can basically KO it instead, which then allows you to trigger all of your Revive effects. You also can tap it in the battle to give one of your green Namekians 5k for the battle. So just a cool little bean or like a little buff there for the turn as well, or for the battle. We have Dende's healing power. This is one of the negates you run in the deck. Draw a card, negate the attack, restand one of your Revive battle cards, or you can use it as a top 7 search to add 2 Namekians with Revive skill, or a Purunga card that costs 7 or less, both green, to your hand. So also acts as a little bit of a searcher. We have 4 of the Namekian Dragon Balls. So this is a Dragon Ball card, meaning you can run up to 7 if you would like. Has 2 different effects. Activate main or battle if your opponent has 2 or more energy. You may choose one of your Namekian cards with the Revive skill and KO it. If you do, choose up to one of your Namekian cards and it gets 5k for the turn. So you also can use this with, this kind of can be like a bean for your leader. And it's free because this part costs 0. So you can just pop something and then gain 5k for the turn. Second effect, cost 1 green, but you place one of your cards under your Namekian battle card with the Revive skill, draw 2, and then give one of your cards 10k. So this is also a way of getting your Namekians from your hand underneath the Namekians in your battle area, so then you can play them out. Also, it's cycling 2 cards and being a 10k combo for 1 energy is a really good value. It's definitely a super strong extra card that you probably wouldn't mind running more than 4 of, but I just can only fit 4 in the deck. 4 dormant potential. We're a non-Saiyan deck, so we can't play on easing, so we need to make sure we have some defense. So of course, Dormant's going to be our defensive option there. Homicidal Clothes as well, just a strong token negate for us. I decided to go with the Heelys super combo instead of Paragus or Great Saiyaman or one of the Namekians, because if your leader is a god, which if you guys notice on the Awakened side, we are a god, so we have the ability of using this card. And 4 life or less, you put a card from your hand to the drop, and then you draw 2. So you can kind of you could also run Paragus as well. I just decided I would include this one because it was kind of cool since the leader is technically a god on the Awakened side. 2 of the Overheard Wish Purunga. This is the archetype Purunga. If your leader is this leader, you remove all cards with Dragon Ball skill from your drop from the game. If you removed at least one card, play this card from your hand. When this card is played, you draw a card, and then you can activate the Revive skill on your Namekian cards from your drop without paying their skill cost until the end of your opponent's turn. So what's nice about this, right, is that you can play this card, so you also don't have to use all your Dragon Balls, which is really cool about this deck. So you can actually just use, like, if you have one Dragon Ball in the drop, you can play this for one and then not have to worry about sacrificing the rest of the Dragon Balls. You can just use the one, right? So you draw a card, and then all of your Revive skills you can play for free. Meaning, if your Slug or your Nail or King Piccolo or something dies, or if you pop it with the Revive skill, you can bring it back for free. So you don't have to worry about paying another card from hand to play those cards out, which is, I think, a little absurd. It's the end of your opponent's turn, so I don't think any of these guys outside of the Piccolo Jr. necessarily have blocker by itself, but we have the ability of giving them blocker, which we'll talk about here. And the secret I decided to go with is Purunga. Fits the theme of the deck. He also is searchable off of the Dende, because this just says a green Purunga, so we actually can search it off the Dende. We can't search it off of the Dende's healing power, but off the battle card Dende we can. And then Purunga just has tons of viability, right? Like, you're pitching cards from your opponent's hand, you're drawing cards, you're rest emoting their cards, you can remove cards on their board. A lot of utility, and I think that's enough. But there are also some other secret rates you also can play, which I'll talk about a few of them. Z-Deck real quick, we have one, since we are playing blue has access to, I think, a pretty good, decent pool of battle cards in Unison, so we also chose to decide to go with some of those. We have Cell, kind of using as a board wipe for 5 or less. Beerus, spot removal as well. 1 Super Saiyan 3 Broly. This card, you KO, actually, I think you place one of your cards in the drop, so it would count for the skill of it being removed, so then you can KO it instead and then get the effect as well. And this is just a really cheap double striker that you can have in the deck. 1 Limit Ultra Kamehameha, because you should have the Z extra cards for defense. 1 Son Goku and Frieza to allow us to restand energy, so that way we have energy open on our defensive turns. 2 Bardock's Father's Help. This is a really strong card next set, I feel like, for this deck. If your leader is green, you draw a card, and you can give one of your green Saiyan, Earthlings, or Namekian battle cards barrier till the end of your opponent's turn, or a blocker. So you can actually give any of your guys blocker. Now, when they die and they come back, they will not keep blocker because they're being played from the drop area, so they have a whole new set of skills. But at least the first round, you'll be able to draw and give a card blocker. I think that's really powerful. We have 1 of the Vegetos just for removal and Z energy charging, and then we have 1 Oolong for a little bit of hand control in there. All right. Side deck here, I got some cards that we can probably look at as just some decent options for side deck or even main deck. We have Heroic Prospect. Since we're going to be playing a blue Unison, we can play this card. We have the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Kind of an interesting one. You can play it on the battle step if you have 2 or more multicolors, and then it's just a big revival card. I don't necessarily think you need it, but it's just kind of cute to think about. Like, you can play this in this deck as well. You have the Son Gohan and Piccolo, Pupil and Master. You will never really hard cast this card, but you can play it from underneath Guru or King Piccolo if you can slide it underneath. It is a free 10k combo, and then also it's a 15k barrier that discards a card from your opponent's hand once per turn. I don't think it's actually worth running, but I'm sure you're going to see it in some decks. In my opinion, it's not an amazing card. It's got a little bit of hand instruction to it, so it's got a perk. We have Hidden Potential, which I think is a cool little counterplay you have access to, but you bottom deck a 4 cost, and you can restand a blue or a green energy since we play blue and green. The better one, however, I think is going to be this Cooler Effortless Strike, since it gets reduced for every extra card green in our battle area and drop, which will have a lot. So this is a 1 cost. You can then you counterplay a 4 cost, goes to the drop instead. Then if your opponent has more than 8 or more cards, they discard a card. So this is a really interesting card. You can get 3 cards in the battle area and or drop pretty quickly. Like, you can play this guy, discard a card, play Battle of Namek, and then utilize one of these in a dormant, and now you're already there, right? So like, you already have access then. That's probably like turn 2 you can do that. You also can have the field and the ultra limit out, and then like one other one in the drop, and it would do the same effect. So that's pretty sweet. This is the Piccolo deck. 56 cards. So I was 1 card off there. Not too shabby of a deck, honestly. This is a really fun deck. I think this could do pretty well competitively. We'll probably see it competitively just because, again, of all of just the free 10Ks this deck has, which is, again, just it's basically a Fusion World deck. So, um, but let me know what you guys think of the deck. If you guys have different ideas of how to build it, or if you guys have some tips for people who are going to be playing the deck, put those down below in the comments so we can share that with the community. Thank you guys for watching as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.